Moneyberg. So for those of you who don't know, this gentleman's name is Thiccc Moneyberg, and he's a very successful businessman. I think they tell me he's damn near a billionaire. And he trains with Gordon Ryan, Jake Shields, I think a few other guys, like big time dudes in the space.
Like all the main guys I saw, yeah.
Big time. He trained, and they gave his black belt, I think, in 3 years. And this was a whole thing, right? I really don't care. Okay, do your thing, man. And then obviously it became a thing. And so it was brought up on Fight Companion. And before I go into it, I don't know Thiccc Moneyberg. I'll call him Moneybag. Sorry. Thiccc Moneyberg. I think Moneybag's a rapper. That's why I was saying that. But Thiccc Moneyberg, I don't know him. I assume he's a good dude. So whenever you're talking about this, the internet is going to get super toxic and attack them. You don't need to do that. You can go, hey, dude. Like, if you have jiu-jitsu experience, ask him a question. You don't need to hate on the guy. There's no reason to get nasty about it. I don't know him. I assume he's a good dude. I assume he's a smart guy. I have no clue. I don't know his background. I don't know how he made his money. I know Gordon speaks highly of him. Jake Shields speaks highly of him. So he's probably a cool dude. So any criticism, it's not really towards him. I don't know. I don't know him. But, Gordon defended it. And, Gordon's the Michael Jordan of jiu-jitsu. So what he says carries a heavy weight. He's done it at the highest of the highest levels. He's a black belt. And he was saying, people think he's going to beat a ADCC champion or something like that. And that's not true. He rolls with his guy, rolls with the guys that he basically pays private training, which is Gordon, Jake, and whoever else. I don't know who else. But he says, I would consider him a black belt. And then he goes, I don't even believe in belts, which that's a whole nother issue I don't want to get into. And I had questions about it. Again, I'm not hating on Thiccc Moneyberg. I just had some questions about it because I've been around jiu-jitsu a long time, trained at the highest level. When I hear a guy gets his black belt in under 10 years, who's not like a competition jiu-jitsu practitioner, it usually, my jiu-jitsu spidey sense go, what's going on here? Either he's a complete freak, a la BJ Penn, and now a lot of you will reference BJ. Well, some people will, not anybody in the actual jiu-jitsu space who knows what the hell they're talking about will go, well, BJ Penn got his in 3 years. He did. And do you know how BJ Penn was awarded his black belt? Not by just training with other black belts. He got his black belt by winning, I think, becoming the first North American to win the ADCC, which is basically the Olympics of the jiu-jitsu. So he did that in 3 years. So that's why he was awarded his. Again, very impressive. It'd be hard to question anybody giving BJ his black belt because we can see in competition against other elite black belts how he performs. So there's a lot of footage we can look at and criticize and critique and go, okay, that guy got it. So I think with Moneyberg, and especially online, and it's a current thing these days where people want instant gratification or instant status without actually doing the work. I'm not saying he's not doing the work, because if he is training, like Gordon says, 5 times a day, 5 hours a day, 5 times or 7 times a week, with these high level guys, you're going to get pretty good. The hiccup I have with it is Gordon says he doesn't train with like students and anybody outside of just his high level black belt trainers. So even though you might have the knowledge and those guys are going through it, those guys aren't rolling with you 100%. You would never learn. So when I was starting as a white belt, if I only trained with Gordon Ryan, or I only trained with Henner Gracie or Henzo or Amal Easton or Elliot Marshall, all black belts, or Ricardo Almeida, these are guys I trained with, Bushesha, Crone Gracie, Lyoto Machida, I can go GSP. I can go through the black belts I've been with. Hodger Gracie, Holes Gracie. So if as a white belt, if you just jump into that deep end with those guys, you're not going to learn too much. If they're actually you're not going to learn too much besides just getting beat the fuck up. You're not going to learn, you're not going to advance a ton. Now in your head, you're going, yeah, but if you're seeing that every day, correct. But if you're not learning the fundamentals and building up to that, it's just not the way it works. It's just not. It's not. So again, my question to Gordon and to Rogan, who's defending it, was if you're training with Gordon Ryan, getting privates for 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, which I can imagine the amount of money he's paying, which good for him, good for Gordon, good for Jake, all those guys, everybody involved, good for you. But if you're not competing with other guys who are coming up the ranks, you really don't know what level you're at. You can say, well, mentally, I've soaked in whatever it is, 25 hours a week of high-level black belt knowledge. Right. But if you've never actually put it to the test, it's tough to know where you're at. It's very tough to know where you're at, because if you're not doing it live and going against other styles and belt levels, you really don't know what your thing is. You really don't know what's going to work. That's what I would say. And that's it. And I think the reason why I question it, and again, if Gordon says he's a black belt, guys, you gotta give it up. What are you gonna do? You can't argue with fucking Gordon Ryan. But from my personal experience, I know it took me as a professional athlete, and I'm not being condescending. This guy's probably a lot smarter than me, has a lot more money than me. He's doing things way better than I am in a lot of facets in business and life, and he's crushing it. This Thiccc Moneyberg. When it comes to athletically, I don't know his background. Maybe he's more athletic than me. I do not know. Again, I'm not being condescending, but I know with my athletic ability, Division I football, very short tryout with the Buffalo Bills, and then UFC made it to the top 10 heavyweight, which isn't terrible. I just know training 7 days a week, 2 to 3 times a day as a professional was my only job. Wasn't making a ton of money, hungry, motivated. It took me about 6 to 7 years before I could roll with a high-level black belt and give him some work.